Welcome back, everyone. This is Clear the Deck. Well, for the first time in 2024, Pirates lose. The path to 162-0 is over. Pirates lose 5-3 in the second game of the series against the Washington Nationals. They're now 5-1 on the year. Nationals improved to 2-3. Trevor Williams, the former Bucco, gets his first win of the year. Mitch Keller comes away with his first loss. And Kyle Finnegan closes out the game for his second save of the year. Pirates, if I'm being quite honest, were never really in this game, despite only ever being at most down 2 runs. They were down, 4-2 and then 5-3, ultimately the final score. But I think when you have a combination of Mitch Keller being pretty ineffective tonight and also the offense kind of laying an egg outside of Jack Sawinski's solo home run, pretty much a recipe for success for a loss, and that's what happened tonight. Let's zoom into Mitch Keller's performance for a little bit. I think overall, my takeaway is the cutter. That pitch was really ineffective all over the zone tonight. Was his second most thrown pitch, 24% of the time tonight. That's down from 32% of his time thrown in his first start. That cutter, when he missed, usually he missed up, which is not a good thing. We saw Gallo when he hit his home run, the solo home run in the bottom of the second to start the scoring for the Nationals. That was a cutter left up in the zone. CJ Abrams, I thought really with the nail in the coffin, if you can call that, in the bottom of the second as well. His single with the bases loaded, ultimately scoring 2 runs, was a cutter left up in the zone as well. Just really ineffective. I don't know if Keller's still trying to work out that cutter and figure it out and how he wants to do it, but relied on it a lot tonight. And for a pitch that's ineffective, I would have loved to see a little bit more of the sinker or the curveball or really other pitches that were maybe a little bit more effective. He pitched 5 1/3 innings tonight, 4 earned, 8 hits, 2 walks, did have 5 strikeouts. Overall in the year, like I said, he's now 0-1, first loss of the year. Now a 6.55 ERA. Not ready to really sound the alarms on him yet. I still want to give him a little bit of the benefit, for it being early in the season. But I think when you combine these first 2 starts that, I think it's fair to say where he struggled, in combination with the second half of last year where he also struggled, that you don't want that to be a trend. I think you see a lot of people freaking out online right now about, we paid him all this money, 5 years, $77 million, and, he's not the ace that we thought he was. I think it's a little bit too premature, but it's certainly something to bookmark, because if this does become a trend into rest of April or, May in the first half of the year, you're going to only get kind of more hysteria based on these types of performances. So hopefully he can come back. He'll have his first start at PNC later this week. I believe it'll be Monday against the Tigers. That's how he lines up right now for his next start. Again, he struggled. That's an objective fact, but hopefully he can turn it around, maybe not rely on the cutter as much, knowing that it hasn't been really effective in these first 2 starts. Start to see, more reliance maybe on the curveball, maybe on the sinker. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I thought the bullpen, though, was effective tonight. Hunter Stratton and Josh Fleming, ultimately 2 2/3 innings, only giving up 2 hits, did have 3 strikeouts, didn't walk anyone, which was encouraging to see. But as I mentioned earlier, when you combine Mitch Keller's struggles with the offense kind of laying an egg tonight, you're going to lose the game more often than not. Jack Sawinski did hit that solo home run, which was nice to see off a lefty reliever, Robert Garcia, 402 feet. But Pirates only had 4 hits, only 4 walks, so on base only 8 times tonight, 13 strikeouts, and a lot of them looking, which are super, super frustrating to watch. Kutch and Michael A. Taylor were the only 2 other players on the team with a hit tonight. They were 1-6 with runners in scoring position, so not many opportunities tonight, especially outside of the top of the second. I think 4 of those at-bats with runners in scoring position came in the top of the second alone. So really the rest of the game from innings 3 through 9, they only had 2 at-bats, hitless in those 2 at-bats with runners in scoring position. I think you have to do, give credit where credit is due with Trevor Williams. I thought he was really impressive. Saw a really effective changeup and sinker tailing away from batters, especially on the left-hand side, going on that outside edge, and he was dotting the strike zone, especially against lefties, as I said. When you do that, especially when you don't throw really hard, he's averaging, with his fastball 90, 91, that sinker 88, 89, and that changeup, like 82 miles an hour. You're not throwing the ball hard, but when you can place it where you want it, especially with the movement that he has, that tail, that sideways movement, falling away from left-handed batters, he was really good tonight, which is frustrating because he was not good in 2023. So Pirates have to figure that out. This was their first game against a starter, against a right-handed starter. So they'll get another one tomorrow. We'll get into that. But I did want to shout out Derek Shelton. There was a moment in the game Bryan Reynolds had a check swing, ultimately called a strikeout. Pirates were frustrated. They wanted the third base umpire to, confirm that, but the home plate umpire decided that he swung on his own. And when you look at the replay, he swung. He definitely swung, but I think good for Derek Shelton. Bryan Reynolds was definitely frustrated, started arguing with home plate ump. Shelton comes out and defends him, complains even more, ultimately gets thrown out, but Shelton, I thought, so far this season, we're only 6 games in, has managed really effective games. Tonight, he didn't really have to make too many choices because the Pirates were never really in it. But I thought even the reliever choices, Hunter Stratton, Josh Fleming, they were really good tonight. Can't fault him there. But overall, nice to see him defend Bryan Reynolds. Those are the things that, I think in the clubhouse probably matter, that, when a player doesn't agree with something, especially when it's a ball or strike or some bad call by the ump, you want your manager to defend you, and that's what he did tonight. Shelton gets thrown out. And you think that can sometimes be a spark for the offense. Ultimately, it wasn't tonight, but, rather get him thrown out and arguing that rather than, sitting on his hands doing nothing. I think overall, can't complain too much about being 5-1 overall. Tomorrow is definitely a test for the Pirates, right? Coming off their first loss, it's the rubber match against the Nationals, third game of the series. The Nationals, if we're being honest, aren't a great major league team this year. If the Pirates want to contend and consistently win series, you got to win. You got to win tomorrow. So Pirates have the rubber match tomorrow on Thursday. 4:05 p.m. is the first pitch. Martin Perez is on the hill for the Buccos on Thursday. Pirates get their second chance at an opposing right-handed starter in Josiah Gray for the Nationals. Martin Perez in his first game of the year was against the Marlins. Only 4 1/3 innings pitched, did give up 6 hits, but only 1 earned run given up. Had 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, 11 ground balls, 5 flyouts, which 86 pitches. That one start, 4 1/3 inning, comes out to a 2.08 ERA. Obviously, very, very small sample size and only one, start for the year so far, but hopefully they can come away, with a win in this third game to win the series, going 6-1 into opening day, home opening day against the Baltimore Orioles, which will be really, really entertaining, I think. Josiah Gray, the pitcher for the Nationals, tomorrow for that rubber match, was an all-star last year. He was 8-13, a 3.91 ERA, 30 games started overall. He had 159 innings pitched, 143 strikeouts. In his first game of the year against the Cincinnati Reds, only 4 innings pitched, gave up 8 hits, 7 earned runs, 2 of those home runs. 2 of those 8 hits were home runs, 2 walks. Did have 6 strikeouts, but I think, hopefully this matchup sets up nicely for the Pirates to take advantage of someone who just got knocked around in their first start of the year. Hopefully that trend can continue. For Josiah Gray, when he faces the Pittsburgh Pirates on Thursday in that rubber match, again, Pirates have a chance to bounce back, take the second series of the year, and go into the home opener 6-1 against the Baltimore Orioles. A win tomorrow, I think, would be a great indicator of how this team can respond. It's a little different this time around as I close this out, but with the first loss of the season, it's tough. If you're keeping count, you can't go 161-1 now if you don't get the 6th win of the year. Pirates will try to do that Thursday. I'll be watching. You should too. Let's go Bucks.